Hey, good morning, guys. How you guys doing? I've really missed talking with you and being with you. Um, so I decided to do something about it. It's really kind of weird just talking into the computer like this, but if that's what it takes, that's what it takes. It reminded me of a couple of stories that I want to tell you about this morning. Stories of Roger Bannister and Winston Churchill. The story of England in World War II. These are the stories of the power of words, the power of deeds, and the power that one person can have to change a whole bunch of people. And these are all things that you have. You have these powers inside you. You may not end up changing the course of history like Roger Bannister and Winston Churchill did, but you can change the course of your own history, your own personal history, the history of those around you, the story of the people in your lives, your own personal story. You can just change your own history, but you have that power inside you. And sometimes the best way to understand that is to hear stories of about real people who did real things in real situations. We're in a real situation right now. This time when we're sitting at home, not able to interact with our friends, not able to go outside. It feels like a big, big deal, and it is a big deal. It's like nothing else that I've ever seen in my lifetime. And as you know, I go back to the dinosaur age. But what what the truth is that what we are going through isn't bad at all. To be honest, it is really not. In World War II in the 1940s, England was being bombed daily by Germany. Daily. Imagine you're sitting in your beautiful house where you are right now, and then the house next door gets blown to bits by a bomb dropped from the air, and all the people inside the house killed. This is what was happening in England. Cities were being bombed, houses, buildings where people lived were being wiped out by the German army. And ultimately, that's why the United States got into the war and we ended up helping Britain win the war. But at the time when the war was at its lowest point, Winston Churchill, the leader of Britain, he rallied the country with speeches, amazing speeches, like just amazing speeches that just rallied people and didn't allow people to give up or give in. I'm going to play a couple of those speeches for you in a separate clip. They're a little hard to follow, a little weird, because the accent and the time. I mean, we're talking about 80 years ago now, so you'll have to really get past all that. But if you can do that, you can understand that, and if you can picture the people listening to these speeches, you can understand that. What an amazing difference this one person made just with words. Winston Churchill, the leader of Britain, because he rallied the people. He didn't let them give up. He didn't let them give in. And they did, and they won the war. But after the war was over, it was hard. It was a long recovery. They had spent so much money, time, effort, lives. Families were broken, buildings were in tatters all over the country. They had to rebuild. And even though they won, they were ultimately they were a little bit dispirited. Their spirit was down because the cost of victory was so high. And there had to be something to come along to lift their spirits. That's where Roger Bannister enters the story. Roger Bannister, during this time of the war and buildings being bombed, he was your age, 10, 11, 12, 13, and all of the buildings around him were just, I mean, it was just crazy. That's the only thing I can imagine. Imagine one day Cypress Woods is just blown up from a bomb from the air. Okay, now we're all going to Brooker. I mean, that's just how it was. And Roger Bannister grew up in that time. He was your age. And he started to form in his mind this idea that he was going to accomplish a goal. And as he grew older, he became a pretty good runner, and ultimately fixed on the goal of running the mile, 1 mile, in under 4 minutes. And less than, like everybody in the history of time that had tried to run the mile, up until the time Roger Bannister broke the record, this record that I'm going to tell you about, they couldn't get their time under 4 minutes. It would be like 4 minutes and 1 second, or 4 minutes and, you know, 0.3 seconds or something, but they couldn't break the 4 minute barrier. And Roger Bannister set his mind to do that. And he actually did break that record. And the story of Roger Bannister breaking that record is an amazing story. I mean, you would love that story. And the story's been told in a movie, a documentary. It's an hour long. It's called Everest on the Track. Everest is a reference to Mount Everest, the tallest building the tallest mountain in the world. And for a long time, people could not climb Mount Everest, and ultimately people did climb it. And now people, you know, more and more people have climbed it. It's like an accomplishment. It's not easy to do. People die trying to climb it every year. But climbing Mount Everest is like symbolic of a huge goal. Like when President Kennedy challenged us to go to the moon, that was symbolic of a huge goal. Well, running the 4 minute mile was one of those huge goals that was thought to be impossible. Roger Bannister set his sights on breaking that goal, and he did it. And in doing so, coming back to England in the war, he rallied the people of England and gave them something to be excited about, gave them hope, gave them something to be thrilled about and something to believe in, and help them and help the spirit of the nation get past that difficult post-war period. So Roger Bannister, the 4 minute mile, Winston Churchill rallying the people through the war and facing down Germany and Adolf Hitler. These are two stories of the power of words, the power of deeds, and the power of one person. I'm going to play for you clips from Winston Churchill actually talking to the British people on the radio. They didn't have TV at the time. And rallying them and telling them that we will not settle for anything other than victory. And, you know, like I said, this is 80 years ago. He speaks with an English accent. It's a little hard to understand, but these words changed the course of history. We might all be speaking German right now if Winston Churchill wasn't there to rally Great Britain to fight against the Germans, because Germany may have won World War II and taken over the world. That was their aim. And then I'm going to show you the trailer to the movie Everest on the Track, which is a documentary about Roger Bannister. The trailer is really cool, and I'm going to link you through Teams. I'm going to link you to the actual documentary in case you would like to watch it. I know you're looking for things to do. I've watched it. It's really good. I mean, it's thrilling. It's not the kind of thrilling like Star Wars thrilling or, you know, car chases and that kind of thrilling, but it's gripping the story of Roger Bannister breaking this record. You'll have to be patient with it. You'll have to listen to it, but you listen to me. So, you know, if you can be patient and listen to me, you guys can be patient and listen to anything. Because look, what am I? I'm just an old guy who talks, you know. But you guys listen, and I love you for that. So that's what the story of Everest on the Track is. A lot of it is an interview with Roger Bannister himself after he became an older guy and talking about the whole story leading up to the breaking of the 4 minute mile. So if you have nothing else to do, you should check all that stuff out. Well, this closes up our first, what I'm going to call our first 10-minute talk. And this will be the first in a series of these. I love you guys, and I miss talking to you. Talk to you soon.